Good morning. It is great to see you here this morning. Every night I watch the CBC National News, and last night, after it was over, I was just left shaking my head. I mean, can you believe it? There were just two news items, it seemed, throughout the whole program. The first dealing with the pandemic, and the second dealing with the protests in the United States and the government's reaction to those protests. I was just left thinking, how did we get ourselves to this place? Not only do we have to deal with pandemic, but now we have all kinds of social unrest. And the thing is, it's my heart that seems to be involved in these two situations. First of all, my heart in the sense that the time of pandemic has brought stress to many, many people. We're not able to enjoy ourselves the way we have become so accustomed to enjoying ourselves. We're not able to see our loved ones. We're not able to move about freely. And let's face it, we're just not even able to come to church to gather to worship God. The second, the unrest in the United States, the people who are speaking about Black Lives Matter, again, causes me a great deal of heartache. Heartache to think that it would come to this, that people feel so oppressed in our world that they need to protest to get the government's attention, and that the government would feel the need to respond to protests with such draconian measures. It makes my heart hurt too, because I wonder, what part do I play in all of this? What part do I play as a result of my white privilege? And so it causes a lot of thinking on my part. But there I was, shaking my head in dismay. And I thought, what we really need is a blessing. Our world just needs to feel that it has been blessed by the Creator. Sometimes all you need in life is just a blessing. So it got me thinking about blessings. A blessing, it's one word, one syllable, spoken 9 times by Jesus in the Gospel of Matthew. When Jesus says something over and over again, it's probably a good sign that he's trying to get our attention. And it seems as if all it takes for Jesus to change the world and our lives is this one word. Remember when the centurion told Jesus, just say the word and my servant will be healed, in Matthew chapter 8. One word from Jesus is all we need. And there's one word I think we need to hear at this time in order to get through these challenging days. Blessing. You are blessed. And that's a pretty radical word when we live in a context of quite often cursing, criticism, and crime. It's the one word, though, that rolled off Jesus' tongue. Blessed. You are blessed. I think he says it 9 times because he knows sometimes we're not listening too carefully. But this is the one word that is key in his sermon about how his followers are to live in the world. The Greek word for blessed is makarios, and it can be translated as the fortunate or the greatly honored or even happy. Jesus is drawing on his Jewish heritage when he says happy. Happy are those who find wisdom and those who get in understanding from Proverbs. Happy are those whose way is blameless, who walk in the way of the Lord. Happy are those who keep his decrees, who seek him with their whole heart, and who also do no wrong, but walk in his ways. From Psalm 119. From Proverbs, the righteous walk in integrity. Happy are the children who follow them. And so on. Happy, blessed. I don't think that Jesus meant something like our thinking that we are blessed when we have all kinds of material things. I think blessing is talking about God's favor and not our material blessings that are represented by a Louis Vuitton suit or a brand new BMW or having $1 million in the bank. Notice that with Jesus, there's no demand in his blessing. Blessings are just statements of fact. Blessed are you. Well, it seems that this time we need a blessing. We need a blessing with no strings attached. When what is before our eyes and in our earbuds is the constant noise of violence, of discrimination, of pandemic. I think that violent acts of any kind are a denial of God and God's blessings, which is why Jesus teaches us, blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God. I think that this is so counter to our society, which is more into cursing, name-calling, investigating, wiretapping, prosecuting, sending in the troops. It's sad that blessing doesn't make it into the headlines. And maybe that's because those who are blessed or who are doing good things don't make it into the headlines. In his book, Whistling in the Dark, the American writer Frederick Buechner says, it's worth noticing, though, the ones Jesus did pick out to bless. Not the spiritual giants, not the champions of faith, not the strong ones, not the ones who are righteous, not the winners of great victories over evil, not the totally pure, not the ones who have necessarily found peace in its fulfillment, but basically those who are on the shabby side. These are the ones to whom Jesus pronounced blessed 9 times. Not the well-educated, well-connected, well-liked, or well-groomed. Jesus blesses all kinds of people, all kinds of down and out, extremely vulnerable, and at the bottom of the ladder people. Why? To proclaim that God regularly shows up in mercy and blessing just where you least expect God to be, with the poor rather than the rich, with those who are mourning rather than celebrating, with the weak and the peacemakers rather than with the strong and victorious. This is not where we are usually looking for God. So blessed are the vulnerable, not the victorious. Happy are the losers of this world because you can have nothing and still have everything. As we have said time and time again, the ethics of the kingdom of God, the ethics of Jesus, turn the world upside down, inside out, and turn our boasting into blessing, our mournful ashes and a little piece of bread and some wine, signs of death, into life-giving wedding supper of the Lamb where all the saints gather. In the Middle Ages, when someone would sneeze, you said, God bless you. fearing that they might have the plague. This phrase we hear so regularly developed historically as a way to ward off the fear of evil, disease, and death. Jesus says to us, God bless you. Blessed are those. Blessed are you. And may we never take that one word, blessed or happy, for granted. Instead, may we use the word blessed to call forth the promise of the blessing of God on his people. I'm going to play for you now a piece called The Irish Blessing.
Be thou my vision, O Lord of my heart. Not be all ends to me, save that thou waking or sleeping, Christ be with you. Christ within you. Christ behind you. Christ before you. Christ beside you. Christ to win you. Christ to comfort and restore you. Christ beneath you. Christ above you. Christ in quiet. Christ in danger. Christ in heart of all that love you. Christ in love of friend and stranger.
Go mani and cheerna hu, agus go goody she hu.
The Lord met the light of his face, and the good news of his heart to be breathed upon you.
The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace.
The Lord bless you
and keep you,
The Lord make his face
face to shine upon you
and be gracious to you.
The Lord lift up his countenance upon you
And give you peace.
يباركك الرب ويحرسك.
Niech cię Pan błogosławi i strzeże.
O Senhor faça resplandecer o
facă să lumineze fața lui peste
യഹോവ തിരുമുഖം നിന്റെ മേൽ ഉയർത്തി നിനക്ക് സമാധാനം.
Kosi fuini alafia.
That was the Irish blessing. And I am just going to leave you with that this morning, saying, may God bless you.